Hello everyone, welcome back to Namalax Bengaluru presents current issue of the day episode number 167. Today we will be discussing a very important world event, that is the war between Cambodia and Thailand. Why the both countries are fighting over a Hindu temple. Okay, we will discuss why the war is happening, what are the reasons and what are the implications, and where did this Hindu temple come from. In syllabus, it comes under GS2 International Relations. It is important for India, especially for India's Act-East policy and India-ASEAN relations and geopolitics in Southeast Asia. And also important for GS3, where on impact of regional stability on national security. So the context here is the recent escalation culminating in a deadly clashes in July 2025 has been heavily driven by nationalistic agendas in both countries. On July 2024, both countries went into war. They started feuding over a Hindu temple. The Hindu temple, which became a face of the nationalistic struggle. So it resulted in more than 40 deaths, and many condemned this issue because it is not only destroying the relation between the two countries, it is also posing threat to the regional stability. So we will see what is the background to this and we will understand from UPSC perspective and also implications on India and its relations. So the 2025 conflict, first we will see why the 2025 conflict happened. That is, in May 2025 there was a fatal skirmish in the Emerald Triangle. It kills a Cambodian soldier and reignites long simmering tensions. So that is the flashpoint from where the war began to take shape. In July 2025, a heavy fighting erupts, resulting in dozens of deaths and displacement of nearly 2 lakh people, border closures and mutual diplomatic retaliation, including expulsions and sanctions of both countries. July 29th, 2025, a ceasefire takes effect following intervention by the ASEAN country headed by Malaysia, and pressure from US President Donald Trump, who threatened trade sanctions if you don't stop the fight. So President Trump did the same gimmick with India and Pakistan as well. He is trying to get the clout out of these international issues. So that is another thing. So this is what happened in the recent year. So why did the war take place all of a sudden in 2025? It is not sudden. Actually, there is a large historical background to this one. So we will understand what is the historical context to this war. So the background is, there is a disputed site. The disputed site is a beautiful Shiva temple. That is, the core of conflict lies in the area surrounding Preya Vihar temple, which is an 11th century Hindu temple dedicated to Lord Shiva, built by Khmer dynasties on top of Dongkrek mountains along the Cambodia and Thailand border. These temples lie at the Cambodia and Thailand border, and both the countries stake their claims on it. However, both the countries have not been able to establish a proper ownership. However, in 1962, ICJ, that is International Court of Justice, came in and gave a ruling. According to this, the Court of Justice awarded the temple to Cambodia, but left ambiguity over the surrounding land, which is approximately 4.6 square kilometers, only 4.6 square kilometers, which is claimed by both the countries. Okay, as a result, Thailand agreed to this one. Okay, we'll accept that the temple goes to Cambodia, but what about the area surrounding this? So does it belong to Cambodia, or do we take a claim for this? So it was a long still, as it was standing still, and both of the countries were in peace for a long period of time. However, in 2011, what happened in 2011? In 2011, this temple was included in UNESCO World Heritage Site. UNESCO World Heritage Site. So along with this UNESCO World Heritage Site came the global recognition for the temple, and many started praising Cambodia, and this is where Thailand started to feel left out. So Thailand Okay, fine, the temple went to Thailand. However, what about the land surrounding it? So we are going to stake claim to the land surrounding it. So they started war in 2011, and again the ICJ came in, and ICJ ruled that it is not only the land, it is not only the temple, but also the 4.2 square kilometer land surrounding the temple belongs to Cambodia. So Thailand for a period kept quiet. However, this acted as a diplomatic failure and shame to the Thailand nationalistic ideals. Okay, the sentiment, the larger sentiment among the Thailand people was that we lost to Cambodia. We lost claim of our sacred Hindu temples to Cambodia. Cambodia already has a sacred temple in the name of Angkor Wat, and what do we have? We have nothing in compared to that one. And the only thing that was in comparison was the Priyavihara temple, that also went to Cambodia. So what do we have now? So it is more like a political or nationalistic shame that occurs to Thailand. As a result, it keeps on coming back to reclaim the land. So this is what happened in 2011, and then post 2011 it was quiet for some time till 2025. So there was a phone call trap where there was a leak between the president of Thailand and the prime minister of Cambodia. The president of Thailand is a lady, I am not able to recall her name, but in that call it sounded that she is more favorable towards Cambodia. She was very nice to Cambodia, and she was talking in a submissive way. So that was not pursued well by the Thailand people, and it resulted in war again. Then the other reasons are, one is it is not only the temple, but also various reasons are also part of this one. One is the colonial legacy, that is boundaries were drawn by French colonial authorities, as Cambodia is part of French Indochina, often without local consent or clarity. Thailand disputes the Franco-Siamese map, which was used by International Court of Justice. We are not part of this Franco-Siamese map. Why should we agree to this one? That is the argument of Thailand. And then that is the nationalism and the identity politics, which uses this temple as a major focus in most of the elections. Both governments use the temple to stoke nationalistic sentiment, especially during the internal political crisis. Military posturing, that is control over high ground around the temple, gives tactical advantage. As I told you, the temple is on top of Dongkrek hills. Okay, then the border demarcation remains incomplete in many areas because there is ambiguity over the area surrounding temple. Next is economical and tourism interest. The temple and the surrounding areas are of tourism value. Control over the infrastructure around it has economic consequences as well. So it is not only the temple, but all the results of these reasons. Okay, that is why the tension between Thailand and Cambodia comes to the fore now and then. So this is the beautiful Priyavihara temple, which is a temple complex which has been recognized as the UNESCO World Heritage Site. It was built by Khmer dynasty in the 11th century. It is similar to Dravidian architecture but built in Southeast Asia. Next, what is the relevance of this conflict to India? First is the cultural and historical links. So that is Priyavihara temple is a Shaivite Hindu temple with Khmer architecture, which is influenced by Indian styles, which obviously emphasizes a symbol of India's soft power legacy in the Southeast Asia, reinforces civilizational connections in India's Actist policy. Next is geostrategic implications. The conflict between ASEAN nations threaten regional stability, which is going to impact India's Look East or Actist policy, which relies on a stable Indo-Pacific region. Second is the security of sea lanes of communication, that is SLOCs, through the Malacca Strait may be affected if the wider instability spills over, if other members of the ASEAN take side in this conflict. Next is India-ASEAN relations. India has strategic ties with both Cambodia and Thailand as well. There is military to military cooperation, infrastructure projects. For example, India, Myanmar, Thailand trilateral highway and BIMSTEC engagement are at stake. So it is not only a fight between two countries, but has a larger implications on the region and especially relation with India. Next is China angle. That is, China has a deep presence in Cambodia, including military bases and infrastructure investment. India needs to monitor any Chinese leveraging of the conflict for strategic gains, so that China doesn't take advantage of this conflict and regain its hold, not regain, strengthen its hold in the Cambodia. Could become a proxy flashpoint in Indo-China strategic competition in the Indo-Pacific region. Okay, so we should be very active. We should be very active in this particular conflict because we have so much to lose here. It is not only the strategic interest, but also it is the significance of China that gains in this particular conflict. Next is the implications. Okay, what should be done and where, which domain are being impacted. First is the domain of diplomacy. Many need quiet diplomacy to maintain neutrality. May need quiet diplomacy to maintain neutrality but support peace. Opportunities are there for cultural diplomacy as well. Then the strategic interest. Instability threatens connectivity projects, undermines regional integration effects. And the cultural heritage. India may leverage its cultural affinity to promote dialogue via soft power. Activist policy. Turbulence in Thailand-Cambodia ties may obstruct broader ASEAN integration goals. Then the regional security increases the need of strategic engagement with ASEAN on conflict resolution framework. So these are the domains which will have larger implications for India. So what should be the way forward from the Indian perspective? What should be the role of India here? First is obviously to stop war. The war has already been stopped at the moment, and also focus on promoting peaceful resolution through dialogue and ASEAN mechanisms. Next is encourage joint mechanism of the heritage site for tourism and cultural exchange. Okay, not just the economic aspects but also bring cultural aspects into activist policy. Next is enhance track to diplomacy and cultural missions. Okay, what is the track to diplomacy? The track to diplomacy involves not just the politicians but also important leaders, be it the celebrity, okay, be it people to people connections. Okay, this is track to diplomacy. It should be promoted. The track to diplomacy is more people centric, it is more closer to people. Next is support UNESCO or ICJ mediated dispute mechanisms, and then increase engagement in ASEAN led security forums like ARF and ADMM+. So with this, India can not only promote or protect its strategic interest but also avoid conflicts in the future. So this is the conflict which was in news. This becomes very important for upcoming mains. So there can easily be a question about India and ASEAN relations with regard to this particular conflict. So prepare well for the India-ASEAN relations. If you want, I can bring a video on this one and I can cover with the data points, etc. So if you like the video, then please hit the like button, comment on it, and also share with your friends. And if you are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and also click on the bell icon so that you don't miss any notification. With this, I will end the video. Jai Hind.